Well, hello, hello. It's Sarah Jane. Welcome. Welcome to this long-awaited spiritual forecast, my personal intuitive reading and guide that came through me, not on Old Year's Eve or New Year's Eve, but a little later this year, when I was asking, hi, Deborah, for guidance. I always love to create ritual, to sit in meditation and stillness, and to really ask for what I call anchors, um, themes to support me in staying true to my true north, and of course to share that with my tribe in creating or co-creating allies in this great time that we're waking up. So I am a little late, so to speak, but also feel divinely guided that I was called to share this with you after I actually got this download and the support from my guides on Chinese New Year just the other day. So to dive right in, and please ask questions, share this, like this, comment, don't like it, but just allow yourself as I go through the compass directions of, hi Carrie, of what came through in the collective. I always ask for what are the energies that are required of me in service to my tribe to come through, in service to my personal growth and evolution. Hi Grant. Great to see you here. So just allow yourself to receive and to really stay in your truth, to take what you need for yourself, and to also just to stay open, to be open to some of the themes that came through for this beautiful 2020 energy. As you know, it's a 4 universal year, and the year of the metal rat, following the earth pig last year. Earth rat has powerful medicine of, I think, some of the key themes of co-creating, dreaming into being through aligned action with allies, and also bringing that back to ourselves to really remember that we cannot create unless we are safely embodied, that we are making our nervous system our greatest ally. Because if there is no safety, then we can't intuit, we can't go deeply rooted into that sexual energy of creation and restoration and really rebirthing a new energy into the world. So I won't go into the frequencies and the energies and the beautiful medicine of Earthright. I'll post this below the comment for those of you who would like to bring that into your awareness. But stay with me. I'm not sure how long this transmission is going to take, but I'm going to keep it as simple as I possibly can, and just to bring in the key themes that you can use as anchors in whatever direction you find yourself right now. Oh, that's beautiful, Carrie. I'm so glad to hear that. So before we start, I just invite you, if you're listening to this live or on the replay, just put your hand on your heart and just allow yourself to be heart-led. This is one of the themes that's been coming through for me in my work and what I've been asking for, very much so, for a couple of years now, is that we as a species, we can remain safely embodied. So just as you connect into your body, feel your feet on the ground. Allow your divine line to open, to connect with Mother Moon and Father Sun, to the great central molten lava core of the earth. And just allow your heart to stay open during our time together, knowing that you are safe, that you are here, and that you are present. Because I really believe that unless we are staying in our heart space, that we cannot create anything different from the old ways. And to really ground into nature, come back to our hearts, come back to our true medicine, so that we can do the work that we're here to do in staying aligned to our true north, with discipline, in collaboration, and to allow those around us to support us, and also to create that beautiful energy of joy, which opens our heart in calling in your team players, whether that's in the spirit world or in physical embodiment. We need that in order to be safe enough to turn our desires and our dreams and our heart speak into truth telling. And I certainly know that I'm a lot better at being a truth teller than I am in receiving the truth from others. So I'm open and asking that anywhere where you may be feeling challenged, to really hear the truth and to see what lies ahead with blinding clarity that you can allow yourself to receive right now. Hi, Sharon. Lovely to see you. So to get on with the 2020 forecast, or the spiritual energies, the frequencies that are available to us right now, exciting times as Saturn is in return with Capricorn and in conjunct with Pluto. And I always see Pluto as a very divisive energy, a very sort of very direct energy that often comes in with Mars, which is that warring planet, and the calling from the elephants, from nature, from the whales that I had the privilege of swimming with in Hawaii last year, is the same thing, that it's time to put down the sword. Put down the sword of anything that takes you into these lower 3D vibrational frequencies, and rise up with the truth of the sword of light. This is really a year to reparent ourselves and grow ourselves up, and ending these old trauma patterns by taking responsibility for our contribution in raising the frequencies, not only of our own heart and our own truth telling, but of our collective heart that's really calling us to deepen into practice, into rituality, and where I find the oracles and the spirit guides such incredibly powerful comfort, and almost like, think of it as putting a stake in the ground. Where are you claiming your stake? Where are you standing in your truth when it feels like you can't? I want to remind you that you can. You're far more resilient than you give yourself credit for. And it is time. It's time to make more conscious choices for the good of the whole. And we saw this coming more and more at the end of the cycle of 2019, and the Earth Pig, who taught us that unless we're rooted down, unless we are safely embodied in these physical fleshy body suits, nothing can change. We can't be out of our bodies. We have to be safely embodied. And in order to do that, call in pig medicine or rat medicine of this year, or whoever your spirit guides are, to assist and support you in staying deeply grounded to nature, to the nature of you, right? Your true nature is part of nature. And we cannot see what we cannot see, until it's ended. And I see this in my tribe. I've seen it in my own life, that it does bring up a great deal of consternation, and it can often be quite terrifying to be trying to create a beautiful future, a living legacy, when we're still caught up in the old paradigms of lack and scarcity. And we don't know, we don't know until things have ended what the future is going to hold for us, individually, but also within the collective. And this includes letting go and ending this sort of intergenerational familial trauma patterns, as well as the collective patterns of suffering and lack and scarcity and separation, right? This great separation sickness that I speak of often. We're being called back to our hearts, and we can't do this if our hearts are closed. Hello, Ina. Lovely. Please keep your comments coming, keep the hearts coming. If you know anyone who might want to join us, Maggie, nice to see you here. Please invite them in. we can't do this alone. You know, I always say we can't create in a vacuum, and we can't keep our hearts closed without there being some deeper consequence for this. And I think that nature is really showing us this in a very intense way, and I think this is going to really amplify as we go forward. So as I said, you know, this is the time to grow up our wounded child parts. And when we start looking at the collective, you know, I invite you after this to go and look at where is Capricorn in your own chart right now, and then look at where Capricorn is in the collective, because that way you start to learn more about yourself, right? Your trauma patterns, where you've got wounds that are ready to be healed. And those of you who have worked with me personally know that I use spiritual astrology, I use numerology, I use various tools that are very congruent and resonant with my own work in truth-telling, turning trauma into trust by keeping the heart whole, you know, calling back all these fragmented parts and pieces of ourselves that we've disowned or dismissed or denied for fear of being abandoned or rejected at some part or time in this lifetime, but also in other lifetimes before this. You know, there's always a piece of trauma in karma. So it's a really good place to start looking at that. And, you know, to then take responsibility for this medicine of all these cosmic layers and the progressed state of cause and effect that is sustainable for each and every one of us. And again, this is where this beautiful Father Sun is entering Aries right now, inviting us to begin again and rise up, to really shine our light with those that we are journeying with. You're not alone on this journey. And I think that's one of the most comforting things that we can know, is that in order for us to see the parts that we have hidden in the shadows, look to the light in others to remind you that you are a light being, that you are a cosmic soul that was made of light and has come onto this earth plane to shine your light with others. Hello, Anna. Beautiful to see you here. And thank you for the hearts and the love. So, as I said, I always like to ask my guardians, my ancestral helping spirits, the divine Gaia, my higher self, the wise crone within for guidance, and always this big ask for spirit, for great spirit, to use me in service, to share what I know with you, and then of course to let go of any projections, rejections, expectations, separations, decisions, judgments, and conclusions about any and all of this, because at the end of the day, we can be told, we can be guided, we can receive information, but ultimately, you know, there is no predictability other than to know that you create your own future and the power of choice is yours. So, as I said before, take what you need, take what you're asking for from this, ask lots of questions, and not to get answers, because as soon as you think you know something, as soon as you think you have an answer, you are pretty much closing yourself to receiving the infinite possibilities of difference, of something greater than what you're currently choosing. So just stay open to that. You know, I think that my ego mind definitely is always making meaning of things. And this is a wonderful way to bring myself back, ground into nature, and just to ask, you know, have at me, you know, use me in whatever way, shape, or form serves the higher, greatest good of my divine line and yours. So I invite you to do that as well, and just to, you know, course correct, because it's so, with all the distractions right now, it's very easy to get off course. So use the compass directions if they resonate with you that I'm going to share for 2020, and feel free, you know, to go deeper, to explore this deeper. If you've worked with me, or you're interested in working with me to create your own anchors for every year of the month, for the 12 houses of 2020, and you want a deeper personalized template I always find that so beautiful. And we go deeper than just the 4 directions. We'll go into the 12 months. And I always find it blows me away every time I do this, because I'll put it up on my wall, or I'll carry on with life. But I always like to start the month, and I encourage my private clients, to start the month by just dropping into the oracle, the anchor card for each month that you're about to go into, or look at it at the end of the month. And every time it's just incredibly heart-opening and exciting to go, there it is. I am so divinely guided. I'm not alone in this. Spirit is working through me. So back to the reading. As I said, I was guided this year around the eve of the Chinese New Year, not the end of 2019, the New Year's Eve, to do this collective reading. That of course includes my own personal energies for myself, to really sit with metal rat medicine and any other guides that were willing to support me, and in so doing you, my beloved tribe, in this year's themes, and of course the use of the anchors and the stakes for each of the compass directions. So without further ado, after sitting in meditation and really silently witnessing what energies would reveal themselves to me as a sort of stake, to help me stay in my truth and stay focused in bringing my dreams and desires into some kind of aligned, omnipotent action. Here are the anchor cards, following the medicine wheel or the compass direction. So as I said, as I go through each one for you, you might want to take some notes. Interesting. Capricorn is in your 7th house. That's beautiful. 7th house, for those of you who don't know, is the house of money and relationships, oftentimes the death of relationships. And you're going to love this, Anna, so stay with me, because one of the cards that came up really hones in on, death and rebirth of relationships, not only personal love relationships as you're going through. And gosh, I just want to say I honor your process of letting go, and really following the resonance of where you're being led in your life. And I think what a kindness, to be in right relationship with your partner, to be able to say thank you for the lessons, thank you for this beautiful journey, thank you for this, for being the partner that co-created this beautiful life force energy of your daughter in this, and being able to say, I bless you, I honor you. Let's go in peace, put down the sword and let go of this, so that you can both enter into a new adventure. So stay with me. As I said, that's going to be coming up in the reading. And as I go through, as I said, with each one of you, please carry on commenting or asking questions, or share with me and your fellow allies that are here on this Facebook Live with us, anything that resonates with you or doesn't. A lot of times the things we're resisting, the things that trigger us, are where our greatest gifts and learning are. So, if you're there, be brave, act from courage. Cur comes from that Latin word of heart. So ask, what would love do here? And stay open, stay vulnerable to share your concerns, or your beautiful resources, or which are your questions with the group. Because so often I find that the questions that we're sometimes afraid of asking for fear of judgment or rejection, or some past childhood trauma that hasn't yet healed, there's always someone else that seems to ask that exact question, because we're all connected through this beautiful cosmic web of life that weaves us all together. And again, remember, to honor yourself wherever you are on your journey, whatever direction you find yourself, whatever season you're on, and just know that this is just a guide. This is my intuitive download. that I felt compelled to share with you as my way of serving with generosity. And after we complete the full circle of today's medicine, I just invite you again to get curious as to looking at, gosh, which direction do I find myself right now? And where is my Capricorn rising in my birth chart? And what are the animals or totems or spirit guides that are coming through to support and assist you as you create your living legacy in 2020? And who are your co-conspirators in the earth plane that are looking for you? So being willing to stay open to find the people that are divinely aligned and there to support and help and guide you and create beautiful collaborations. Big theme for this year, to be heart-led, is we need tribe that can see us and hold us as we hold space for them. And of course, I'll link in the comments a guided meditation journey. If you feel called to use it, that's going to connect you with your primary animal totem for 2020. And it's a beautiful process of just allowing yourself to be supported. So for the 2020 readings, out of all the beautiful oracle guides and cards that I have, I was called to use the mystical shaman cards. This was interestingly enough, a collaboration illustrated by a beautiful woman called Jenna Delio Grottaglia, Albert Villaldo, Colette Baron Reed, and Marcela Lobos. So I also had a chuckle after the fact to realize, gosh, interesting that the cards that I used for this reading were not created by one single person and spirit, but a collaboration of 4 incredible people. So these are the cards that I'll be using for the reading. All right, so if you want to write this down, we always start in the circle, in the heart space, in the center. So if you have a piece of paper, you could draw a little circle in the center. And this is the anchor card that everything is going to give a rise to. And again, no surprises at the synchronicity of this. The anchor card for 2020 is the child. And I'll post these below so that you can perhaps use these for your own meditation or practice. But I love that the child came up as the anchor. Because it's for us to remember our lost innocence. To remember how to play again. This is one of the things that the dolphins, the spinner dolphins, who know how to play, that dogs, that the beloved nature kingdom of great whales and elephants have been urging and insisting me and really getting pretty loud in their voices last year to say it's time to put down the suffering. It's time to let go of the suffering, to let go of the trauma and connect with your innocence in the act of play, in bringing more joy to the world. So how divinely perfect is that for us in this age of Aquarius, for this much awaited course correct, to return to the heart and of this beautiful, beautiful childlike energy that's giving us a second chance at remembering our innocence in all things. And of course, where blinding clarity comes in on new levels of service and collaboration is to remember it takes a village to grow a child. And we have to learn to walk again in the energy of joy and play and innocence, to really open our eyes to perhaps seeing the truths that we couldn't see before in the things that we're not liking on the planet, in the places where we're putting our resources, in all the beautiful concerns that are causing pain and suffering, not only perhaps in your own life, but in the collective. With so much of the earth burning or flooding right now, or the rainforests that are being destroyed. when we see it through a child's eyes, there is potential. There is potential to see the best in everything. And it's in that space of childlike innocence where we're learning to walk again together, to find the new solutions that have not been there before. And in order to do that, we need to let go of the old programming. So again, coming back to remembering our hearts, to remember our humanity, in that we are all connected by a grid in our true nature of childlike wonder. And just think of a baby that comes in with this beautiful soul light, and we were all those babies once, those star seeds, waiting to experience life in human form at this particular time on our planet, as light beings, as soul lights, and being connected to this beautiful grid of interconnectedness, to remember who we all were once when we came into this world in this body, and we had no fear as babies or anxiety about being fed, or where will my next bottle of milk come for, or who's going to take care of me, or who's going to change our nappies. There was just ultimate and absolute truth that all our needs would be met, and that we would be cared for, and that we would be kept warm, and we would have nurturing touch, and the nourishment, and the compassion and the patience of the mother energy to grow us up. And for many of us that are gathered here today, that wasn't always the case. We had emotionally absent mothers, or we suffered some kind of adverse childhood experience or later life experience with narcissistic relationships or partners. The child, this beautiful child, which is our anchor for 2020, is reminding you and me to connect back to the joy of choosing to be here in this experience as in human form, to share our own unique capacities and talents as empaths, as emotional beings, as spiritual beings in bodies. And just as I said earlier, like the elephants and the spinner dolphins and the whales continue to support and guide me. They remind us all to allow joy to happen through you. So bring in the wisdom of the matriarchs, of elephants, of great whale. If you just look to nature, if you look to dogs or kittens, or some of these beautiful soul animals that come into our lives as domesticated pets to grow us into the best human being they know us to be. Use them. They show us how, when we are in our true nature, when we are being the best humans that we can be, we are only connected. We are only actioning through love. There is none of the other lower vibrational frequencies and destructive implants of blame or shame or regret or guilt or anything else there. There is only love and nurturing. So, Gaia, you call her in. Ask the animals the medicine of the great mothers, and who better to call in than Gaia in helping us to grow our child parts up with this loving, compassionate patience that we know is within all of us, because we come from Great Mother. And in doing so, release the programming, the habits of being who you think you need to be, and being open, just like those gorgeous little babies have their arms open, reaching out for love, reaching out to be held, reaching out, stay open, be open, have a beginner's mind, where everything you see through the eyes of a child, and your actions as this childlike energy, play and wonder and curiosity and pure love and light energy contributes for you being a vital part of collaboration this year, to create heaven on earth, to create a new wealth economy that is of love. And as the masculine energy of Father Sun, and the energy of the metal rat in Chinese medicine, metal is yang. It is the energy of contraction. It is the out-breath that is reminding us to surrender, 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 deeply, deeply fall into grace, with every breath out, to free yourself from the programming and the conditioning of these suffering states that were probably not yours to begin with. We all come in with this cultural guilt, in the memory of all those that died at the Holocaust, that's kind of been coming up. In the last couple of days, I saw a little bit of that ceremony on television. There is this collective cultural guilt, and we need to have the childlike innocence and a beginner's mind if we're going to stop repeating these past traumas, this intergenerational trauma that is on our DNA and our LNA and on our blueprint, and just allow that right now to dissipate, dissolve, transmute, give it back to Mother Earth, because she knows how to recycle that into beautiful fertilizer for a new birth, for this new creation of heaven on earth. So that's the child energy. Grow your child up, knowing that you create your own safety. Tell your little one, right, the fragmented parts, that you're calling home to you as the wise, nurturing, safe, loving mother that perhaps you never had, that you have got her. And if you want to right now, beautiful way to do that, if you're kind of feeling tripped out by this, is put your one hand under your armpit, put the other hand on your shoulder, and just remind your little one that you've got her. She's okay. You're there now. She's no longer alone. And in that way, you get to become a whole being, right? A wholehearted being. This is what well-being and health is. It's being whole in yourself. That way you can start to free yourself from these old survival patterns and start to move into co-creative expressions of play and joy, more and more, one step at a time. Inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. So be gentle as a mother would. Ask, what would love do here? When you feel that old judgment, or you find yourself triggered by some of the old story. Remember, you are the storyteller. You are the truth teller. You are not the story, right? And what's true for you does not necessarily have to be true for anybody else. So choose to be here now as the innocent child, and free from anything that's contracting and holding you back from your expression of pure joy. Give yourself permission to play more. Okay? All right, so moving on. We're going to start where we always start, in the compass direction, and that is in the direction of the east. Why? Because the east is about vision. It's the element of air, and 2020 is a 4-year, which I love because it's all about nature again, your true nature, and it's about being creative and innovative. So it's about receiving the vision, bringing the dreams out of the ethers, right? We're in the dream state here. It's the spirit of manifestation and co-creation, right? Art and writing. If you haven't already, maybe start doing some automatic writing. And it's that momentary heavenly body, right? It's the sun season. Spring is in the east. So it's a very far-sighted place about mastery, right? We're all here to be evolved, right? And this is the mastery of walking the path one step at a time. And why I love that magic came up, right? Because in order to make the dream physical, in order to ground our dreams, our visions, our desires onto the earth plane as safely embodied human beings, it takes a huge amount of magic. And the child, right? The child, which is your anchor for 2020, she knew how to be magic. She knew how to speak to non-human species. She heard the rocks and the trees and the voices of the animals, or at least I certainly did, until that was programmed out of me as too woo, or that, you know, we weren't supposed to, as these intuitive psychic beings, be able to read people's minds or have other conversations or dream. So connect back through your child into magic, right? The child in us knows the medicine of magic. And she knows that it is time to claim your sovereignty and spell into being the dreams, right? With all the words that we use. What are you spelling into being in your actions into this physical reality? So call upon the infinite intelligence of Great Spirit to assist you in being eyes wide open. Call in Metatron, Archangel Metatron. Let's use Metatron's cube. Let's call in Uriel. Let's call in Merlin. Let's call in the dragon energy. I'll post that as well. But that again was an anchor card that I came from the dragon deck. Was this beautiful healing pink dragon, which of course is the epitome of heart energy. So you could put the pink dragon as part of the anchor card for the child, to stay connected to her magic, and call upon that infinite intelligence of Great Spirit to assist you in having eyes wide open in that childlike innocence and wonder, open to the synchronicity. You know, ask that you can see what you couldn't see before. Look for the evidence of magic, because you see the world through the eyes of a child, right? And sometimes we don't need to prove, right? My mantra always, nothing to prove, nothing to hide. So ask that you stay open to the unseen realms of magic, right? Just because you've planted a seed and you can't see the energy and the alchemy happening underneath the soil doesn't mean that it isn't happening. So be willing to be awestruck in your gratitude for your innocence. Trust where your sweet, beautiful body is taking you, and just allow yourself to be inspired, and for it to arise naturally. Magic cannot be forced. If you've ever seen a child, you cannot force a child to do anything it doesn't want to do, right? Allow yourself the patience, the compassion, the mindful regard for your child to guide you into the magic, so that you can co-create in your own time, in your own season. There's a season and a time for everything, and there is no force with magic. Just trust that it is magic. Trust it to be, and to go within. And if you find yourself going down, what some may call a depressed state, right? We're depressing. Stay there. Depression is also a gift. Every energy is a gift, just as every emotion is a gift. Stay in what I call the waiting room of the grief, of the sadness, of the contraction. And give thanks for the gift of acknowledging that this is exactly where you're going to find within you what is available and possible, because you held space, right? In innocence, as the silent witness, for magic to take you there, right? To receive the blessings, right? The blessing in the lessons. Nothing is wrong here. So give thanks, have active appreciation, and let Spirit remind you of the alchemy of co-creating your future in sacred partnership, that you are never alone. And all that you have to do is ask and be willing to receive in whatever way, shape, or form it comes or presents itself to you, right? You do not need evidence. Just as true alchemists trust in the process of turning the invisible into visible, right? The lead into gold. Your part is to dream it, intend it, watch for the signs and the symbols and the synchronicities, and trust, if you can't see it, that it is there. Just trust, trust, trust. The innocence of the child trusts, right? Trust yourself in the process of creating magic, in the synchronicities, in the next action that you're going to take, and just stay on the path of your true north. Don't go back to sleep. Stay awake so that you can cultivate the curiosity of that innocent child again and again and again. Trust that the magic, your magic, in co-creation with Great Spirit, will always birth miracles, because you're miraculous, right? What are the odds of you being you? You are a miracle. You're a miracle maker. Use your magic. The world needs it more than ever right now. So own it and be amazed, be awestruck by you and your own magic. Oh, I love this. So I'd love to know if you are enjoying this, if you're loving this so far, if anything resonates with you. Oh, Sharon, yeah, letting go. It is heartbreaking. It is, again, the gifts are in the contrast, and often when we're in the heartbreak, when we're in the depression, when we're in the anxiety of the meaning making of it, it's very difficult to see the gift in and the kindness in that sacred contract being complete and allowing each other to have another experience. So, I honor your bravery, my sweet girl. Yeah. 2020 is definitely a time of recentering. Hi, Petro, Rosanna, Tarina, Bhavna. Lovely to see you all here. Hi, Alison and Tara. All right. So if you're just joining us, you might want to go back to the beginning. This is my 2020 intuitive spiritual forecast. And I'm showing up in service to you in the hopes that this will bring you some comfort, some inspiration, and a way for you to use the cards that came up in the compass direction as your own stakes to claim them and own them and honor them. So far, our anchor card for the year has been the child with pink dragon energy, and we have just moved from started in the direction of east, the vision, the air, the dream state, with magic, right? The card of magic from the mystical shaman oracle deck. And we now move into the direction of the south. And oh my God, again, I was so excited when this card came up, because the south exudes generosity. And we got corn. The medicine of corn showed up in the direction of south. So for those of you like Anna, like Sharon, that are finding yourself in your own season in the direction of south right now, corn is a beautiful medicine to use to remind you that in order for the death of the old systems, we need to let things die. It's easier to be often a truth teller than it is to receive the truth. So we need to let the old stories die, and everything needs rebalancing. Nothing in nature is wasted. And just as the corn is planted in the seed and it bears this beautiful, beautiful corn, the cob of corn, in order for the corn to ripen, the plant needs to die. Right? The plant goes back to the earth along with some of the seeds when we harvest the corn, to maintain balance. And we have to remember to be here now. Corn really reminds us that of our abundance, to give generously of ourselves, to receive generously, and to in order to contribute our gifts, that you have to learn to reparent yourself, to grow yourself up in a safe embodied way in and on the earth together, right? We're traumatized in relationship. So the only way that we can be healed is through relationship. And this whole thing of rewilding ourselves brings great joy, right? Joy back, to remember our wildness, our animus, that we are of animal, right? And to let that wild part of us be unleashed, untethered, in its true nature, to really celebrate our true nature. A corn is still a corn. We could call it another name. A rose by any other name, would it smell as sweet? Go back to the magic. What are you spelling into being? What are we re-peopling in ourselves, in our humanity? And again, I think corn is part of the medicine of 2020. Is if our plants, right, if we're not planting healthy seeds, if we are not nurturing and tending to the soil, that seed will not grow. So 2020 is, again, an incredibly powerful energy in, re-peopling, remembering that without our internal health, our state of health being in a good place, thriving state, nothing will grow. So corn reminds us that we need the sun, we need each other, right? Plants and the whole ecosystem, we need each other. Again, corn doesn't grow alone, it grows in a field. So many trees out there in Africa, when a giraffe eats off an acacia tree, it sends out a pheromone, a scent, to tell all the other trees to close their little leaves and protect themselves, because otherwise they're going to be eaten. And corn very much is that medicine of collaboration, of knowing that the state or the health of the earth, of our water systems, of everything, right, of our very survival as a species, needs to be returned to a healthy state. And that starts with a healthy state of mind. Again, it's an internal job, because if we are not standing in self-care, if we're not taking care of our own physical bodies, of our own internal climate, we cannot stand for nature. We cannot have empathy or compassion. We cannot be heart-led if we're coming from this place that there isn't enough. And again, corn is a beautiful card that reminds us it's the medicine of harvest. It's the medicine of bounty. In Native American cultures, corn was as priceless as gold, right? It was the biggest gift you could give, was the gift of life. That you could give someone a couple of corn kernels, and as they say, feed a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, feed him for life. This is the whole philosophy where I stand in my truth as a medicine woman, is to teach others how to be their own medicine, to claim back their own power. So again, South, the medicine of corn, this is about nurturing, tending to the soil, your internal garden, being wise, being patient. It takes time for seeds to germinate. It takes time for the corn plant to bear fruit, or any other, any of us to bear fruit, and birth things into the world. And if you're kind of feeling that you are not very tolerant, ask again, what would love do here? Be patient, be understanding of the season that you're in. And if you're hesitating to move forward, because there's disagreement or incongruent discourse going on in your life right now, return to the childlike innocent. Return to the magic, right? The magic of transmuting fear into love, anger and hurt into love. Return everything to love, because that is the way. That's the way that we get to come forward in our own lives. And corn corn. What can I say about corn? It's incredible. You could also bring in bear, right? Courage, that heart energy of bear again. The animal kingdom, right? The quality of plants, right? It's very much rooted in the south, in strength, in introspection, and in our physical bodies, as I said. So, the manifestation energy of corn is healing, of bear is healing, of plant is healing. And the time in the south is being present in not only your heavenly body and the stars, but in your physical body as well. It's the fall season. And it's the place where we have to look within. So as we move from the dreaming state of the vision in the east, through the alchemy of Pachamama, of the mother of sustenance, who shows us that there is a cycle, there's a season, there's a time for everything. But all the cycles of life are, they're always in tangible abundance. Even if there's drought or great fires like we're seeing in Australia or other parts of the world, even if you didn't plan, right, and some of us didn't plan very well or plant very well last season, this is not the time to go into judgment. This is the time to go, what can I learn? Because there's always going to be a new season to begin again, right? This is the beauty of nature, coming back to nature again. Every day we get to say goodbye to the sun and hello to the moon. And we trust that the sun will rise again, that we get to live, that we get to open our eyes, to take a new breath and to do another day, to learn, to grow, to be a better human being every single day. We just trust the abundance of life and breath. So, as I said, just trust that there will always be a new season to begin. But you have to create, you have to take the aligned action. You have to commit to begin again. And you have to commit to learn from your past mistakes. And you need to commit to trust that you will reap what you sow. And that corn, it is a symbol of material prosperity, but you have to tend to the corn. You have to trust that there is always more than enough, even when there isn't. In fact, more so when there isn't is the time to give generously. And to trust. Corn shows us there is bountiful harvest, and harvest often comes from the hardest lessons that we've learned. So it might not feel like harvest. It might not feel like there's a gift in wherever you find yourself right now in the challenges that you are, but trust in corn to show you the medicine is bountiful harvest of abundance, of enough, that you are enough. And that this is the time to reap the rewards of your diligence, of your commitment, of your focus, of your clear-sightedness. And that if you planted well and you learned the lessons from when you didn't, that there is abundance in the infinite possibilities of all of it. So trust yourself to choose again and to contribute generously this year to global sustainability by sustaining yourself through self-care. You cannot take care of the planet. You cannot put your beautiful concerns and your energy and your resources, especially all you highly sensitive people and empaths who are so good at giving, but you're not filling yourself up. This is a time to look very carefully. Be aware of where are you leaking your energy out? Where are you not taking care of yourself? Because you cannot give if you're depleted, right? Just as corn, if there isn't energy in the corn from the water, from the nutrients in the soil that it's growing in, it doesn't grow. So tend to your own internal garden so that you can give of your gifts to a more sustainable global future for all of us, right? For creating this new heaven on earth. And where we're all being asked and demanding and committing to creating a new economy based on quality, not quantity. compassion over selfishness, over greed, a heart-based, heart-led, love-based economy that is based on generosity and the stewardship and the abundance, the altruism, right? The 9 energy, or the direction of south of the corn. And plant again the field of dreams, and plant again and plant again, and continue to work well. Ask for the resilience to not quit. Oftentimes we want to quit just before we start to see the invisible become visible. Use the alchemy and the magic of the innocent child. Use your magic. Use the magic of others to support you in seeing the things you couldn't see up until now. And especially when things get hard, corn medicine will always show you the bountiful harvest so that you can share your good fortune, you know, with an open heart, and kind eyes, you know, because you're safely embodied in knowing that you create and you co-create and you're not alone. You know, this is not a time, you know, again, I think the medicine of corn, and I love this, the imagery on this, because, you know, it is co-creation. The corn needs the sun and the rain and the birds to take the seed, and you have the bounty of the corn, but you also see the death of the old corn plants after the harvest, returning back to the earth. So don't look for shortcuts or magic pills. You know, don't go on a spiritual bypass. You can't meditate yourself into abundance. You can't force yourself to be happy. Remember, the child cannot be forced. Truth will reveal itself when you're ready to receive it. So to stop trying to fast track. I know so often I go into the judgment of, you know, that I should be further along, or I should be here, or I should be doing something else. And it's the killer of all dreams, right? That's when procrastination kills your dreams, and then you can't physically actualize it into being. So stop looking for a shortcut, right? Focus on what is available to you and just take the next step. Think of it how you would plant corn. You know that you're not going to reap the reward straight away, but if you focus your intention and you're committed to tending to that corn seed, you will reap what you sow in the season of harvest. So if you're feeling a sense of entitlement or expectation to get something for nothing, or you're doing the comparing game, please stop. Just stop killing your magic. Ask for, I'll have some of that. If you see the magic of someone else lighting you up or inspiring you, to tap into your own magic. Stay in gratitude, stay in perseverance and humility, and ask, how can I be of more service? How can I use my magic in a good way? Ask Gaia, the spirit of corn, to use you as an instrument for good, and then go there. And if you're prepared to work in congruence with your vision and mission and purpose, if you're prepared and committed to plant seeds of intention consciously, to tend to your garden consistently, even, as I said, when you cannot see the corn seeds germinating beneath the earth, they haven't pushed their way up through the soil yet, but you know the magic is taking place there because you have done the preparation. You've prepared the soil, you've fed the soil, you've blessed the earth, you've brought in, right, the medicine. When you're respectful of the cycle of nature and the seasons, and you practice patience and persistence, everything new is always going to emerge from within. It always comes from within. So release your insecurities, release your doubts, your scarcity, your not enoughness, or your worry that someone will take what's yours. You know, when you give up ownership, as some of you brave, beautiful beings on here with me, I just want to give a shout out to so many of you, Anna, Sharon, Tarina. I know a lot of you have been practicing this with me. It's taken as long as it's needed to take to get you to that point where you can let go, where you can celebrate and grieve. Grieve well the death of what once was that is no longer, before you start calling in rebirth, right? Before you start planting new seeds of inspiration. But when you give up ownership of anything, a beloved pet, a home, the love of a partner or a child or a husband, or a wife, when you claim your power and you remember that you own no thing except your own sovereign heart, your own sovereign state, your own safety, you own no thing. When you claim the power from the place of stewardship, of guardianship, and you guard your heart well, you practice self-love and healthy boundaries, and you ask, and when you ask and it shows itself in a space that you don't even know what it looks like, and you're about to push it away, stay open to receiving. Stay open to receiving when it shows up, and then go into thank you and gratitude. Fall into the grace. Fall into the grace of the heart, knowing that you are interconnected and that you will set yourself free. The universe will provide it, will meet you there, but only if you're willing to be in right relationship to receive you and to do the self-care. And to remember, we're going to see, I believe we're going to see a lot more death and destruction this year. And I think death has to be amplified right now. There's more loss. As I said, we're seeing this in the natural world. There's more death and destruction of the ecosystems. And there's also more death and destruction of the old programming and fiduciary systems and cultural systems and man-made systems, as well as environmental systems. We're seeing death in nature, billions of animals and plants and insects and bird life lost every day. We're losing more and more species. We're seeing the death of the people and the animals that we share our life with. We're seeing the death of dreams that once were, that were no more. We're seeing the death of partnerships. But we have to be willing to be with death, to stop being afraid of death, so that it can wake us up. And as we feel and we witness the extinction, right, the death of the old, the death of what is so beautiful, and it breaks our heart into a million tiny little pieces, when we're impacted by it to that point, that's when we come back to our hearts. And I think we're going to be needing a lot more impact, a lot more loss, before more of the collective wake up and more people come on board and get out of this denial that there's climate change or global warming or terrible things going on in the death and the destruction and the poisoning of our rivers and our oceans and our earth. And we stand in the know. A boundary has been crossed. So for all you empaths and highly sensitives, if you are feeling so burnt out, I was there. It's taken me 2 years to recover. It takes diligence. It takes commitment. It takes daily self-care. Go and do float tanks. Get an Epsom salt bath. Do celery cleanses. Do a juice fast. Get a massage. Ask your body what it requires of you right now, because you can't do your great work in the world from a depleted body. And if you're really thinking like I have so many times when I witness the pain of so many of the animals that I work with, the elephants, the lions, the rhinos, seeing the koalas, seeing footage and being in that place of heartbreak and grief at so much suffering in the natural world. If you think you can't bear any more pain and you're just feeling so depleted, I'm here to tell you that you can and you will and you must. Um, remember, get your strength from your allies, right? Make your nervous system your greatest friend. Tend and befriend your nervous system, and take solace that you no longer walk alone. Find new ways to care for yourself, and you will find new ways to care for the things and the concerns that matter and move you the most, including the people and the animals that you love. And notice the contrast, because the gifts are often in the contrasts. Look at the grief and the contrast of bliss. And that grief and joy can coexist and do, often at the same time. Death and life, right? Rebirth. We have to embrace death. And I will be talking on a grief summit with Judy Anderson, my dear friend, Jazz Up Your Life with Judy, on I think the 10th of February. So please join me for that, for more pragmatic tools and tips on how to tend to grief and give grief a sound. It's an incredible, humbling teacher. All right, we're almost there. I'm sure I've been going for quite a long time, but we're almost at the end. So we move into the West now. And I love the journey from the South to the West. I always think of as a rite of passage. You know, this is the heroine's journey that Joseph Campbell talks about. And this is about really the critical thinking, the alignment that is required, the commitment that's required, that I've kind of been building you into. And I also, you know, this is Capricorn. This is about being detailed, about being oriented. This is about using the analytical mind, right? Employing the mind to work for you, and where you have to be able to have enough of your energy embodied to be in that space of deep thinking. And again, if you are kind of feeling yourself hesitate, that you're feeling like you can't move forward without all the necessary information, move back into the magic of the East, right? Use the magic of the innocent child of your anchor for 2020 to remind you that even if you can't see it, even if it's not visible yet, it is there. And thoughts become things if you're moving them, right? If you're spelling them into being with the magic. So West, the totem is elephant. It's wolf energy. It's the element of fire. It's the color of yellow. And again, it's the animal kingdom that comes in. So again, this whole of 2020 is really reminding us to come back to our true nature, isn't it? You know, this is about finding our human aspect in our emotional beings in physical bodies. This is about journeying, and the time has passed the heavenly body, right? This is the moon and the summer, and the south is the place that we've come from. So again, beautiful, beautiful card, reminding us of our independence, right? And our interdependence as we move from south to east, south, northeast, south to west. This is the rite of passage from Corn. And the anchor card for the West is, again, you can't make this stuff up. Beautiful snake forming a circle, right? And we know that a circle has no beginning and no end, and the energy medicine of completion. So just as corn ripens on the stalk in the harvest, and it dies and it returns to the earth to fertilize and replenish the soil, in the direction of the West, the completion card reminds us that 2019 was the completion of a 9 energy cycle with the earth pig, urging and inviting us to root down, to remember where we come from, to go back to our origins, and to know that we are interconnected. So we did, if we were planning well, if we were tending to our gardens last year, we let go of a lot of what we didn't want to carry into a new 1 year cycle, by letting go, letting go of anything that no longer serves us, and building solid foundations in fertile ground, tending to our internal climate in a very healthy, co-regulated, collective, family, village, internal system, where we need to, in the circle of all things, be co-regulated, safely embodied, in order for us to be able to co-regulate collectively in a safe way, to put down our swords and come together with a peace pipe, not with war, to make love, not war, and to look after each other, for the safety and the survival of the whole. We need to know that in coming full circle, we have to return to our hearts. So the energy of completion is in the east. So let go of the old, honor and learn from what was, so that you can find new form and creation in your brilliant future, which is, again, where Capricorn expresses over time and transforms the old into new, into this age of Aquarius, right? This childlike innocence. And just like the seed becomes the flower, and the flower becomes the fruit, and it returns to seed and to the earth once more, honor the importance of the seasons of all of life, and that whatever stage or climate or season you find yourself, whether you're in the beginning or the middle or the end, you're exactly where you need to be. Exactly where you need to be. So call in snake medicine to help you there in the energy of completion. Call in wolf, who knows how to nurture and tend to her young. It's a very feminine energy of reparenting and growing up the child. And finally, we move from the west into the direction of the north, your true north, into your true nature, coming full circle to belonging, right? The sovereign state, belonging to yourself. The warrior energy is the north. It's very courageous. It takes charge. It's all about willing to take risks. And of course, the shadow part of the north is that we tend to, again, want to bulldoze over others, and it can be very hurtful. Remember what I was talking about in collaboration of the child, and in the state of magic, going from magic making. There's alchemy in nature in the way that she bears fruit from seed, and you cannot rush the growing stage, right? So again, you can't make this energetic vibrational frequency and this resonance of this reading for 2020 and the compass directions any more positive and beautiful than knowing that everything has a time and a season, and we often hurt the ones we love. Remember, hurt people. So we have to go back. In recap, we have to go back into doing the internal work, doing the shadow work, coming full circle, bringing our fragmented parts and pieces, our wounded child, our trauma patterns. We have to resolve them, surrender them, release them, as the West moves to the direction of the North. And again, I love every single one of these cards that have come up as anchors for us in each of the compass directions. The luminous warrior. I mean, how does it get more beautiful than that? You are a love warrior. You came in as this soul light in a human form as a child to incarnate on this earth through the divine as you. And the luminous warrior is that remembering, right? The stake that you use whenever you feel like you are losing your way or you have wandered off your true magnetic north. Use the luminous warrior. Ask that the light in you sees the light in others. And know that that warrior is one that is a peace warrior, right? It's the white dove that comes in peace. It is the awakening, right, of our humanity, our remembering, our repeopling, our return to love in the age of Aquarius. It's the space of the 22 energy, double amplification of the two, where the light warrior exudes only love and has no enemies. Wow, yeah, I love this card. And again, I say I will post these below for you to meditate on. But, you know, all I see is this beautiful heart energy, and it almost looks like on his wings rides the rose quartz, the rose dragon of love. So use her, use him, right? From this place of what would love do here. Be impeccable in your word. Be impeccable in your word and in your actions. This card reminds us that it's time to focus on the light. Focus on the light within you that sees the light within others, even if they cannot see it because they are so shrouded in the dark, in the shadows. And where you perhaps are hiding in the dark. Make peace with yourself through self-care, through self-love. Make peace, not war, with your mind. There's a beginning and an ending. And with the ending, it begins with making peace to the eternal internal war of judgment and shame and blame and anger and regret and rage and all the other destructive implants that you are turning inward and making war with yourself. It's time to stop. And the peaceful warrior casts no shadow when it's aligned to your true north. So through rising above the old, shining radiance of truth, and being the example of what love would do in a container created in safety, because you have the power of choice to create your own safety, to reparent and grow yourself up from a nurturing, loving place. You can transform the enemy within you into an ally. Trust me, I know. And you may have to do it over and over and over again. But choose to be the light warrior, the luminous warrior. Hold your light as your sword of love to transmute the dark into the light, into love for yourself. And start by making your nervous system your greatest ally, because you cannot do this if you're coming from a defensive, protective, unsafe environment. Use the energy of Pluto and the action and the power of truth as your sword in every word that you speak, in every thought that you think, in every feeling and emotion. Use the energy of Pluto. Use the luminous warrior to help you to anchor in and stay aligned to your true north. And have the wisdom. You know, give me the strength, give me the wisdom to tell my whole truth with a whole heart and to receive truth. For all of you that are really good truth tellers, like I can totally relate, and not very good at receiving the truth, because sometimes the truth feels hurtful. It's just your ego trying to defend an old story. And remember, you are not the story, you are the storyteller. So don't look to the wrongness in yourself or anybody else or what you see in the world. Rather, feed your light with more light until you feel empowered. Focus on the positive as your intention and follow yourself there until you trust you are enough. Focus on your unique qualities and talents and abilities until you realize you return to love. Until you remember that there is no need for action because you are complete from within. You're aligned to your true north. So put your sword away. If you feel yourself being pulled down to these sort of lower vibrational frequencies of the old 3D, we still have one foot in the old 3D and one in the 5D. Patience, my darling friends, patience, allowance, generosity of spirit, right? Make love, not war. Your enemy is not who you believe it to be. So stop fighting with yourself. Make peace, make love, not war. And call in your allies in love. Call in your allies in consciousness to support and guide and remind you when you lose your way, when you wander off your true north, to remind you that you are made of light, that you are made of love. Find it. Find those light warriors that are walking the path with you through peace, especially where anger could hurt the ones that you love the most, right? This is one of the shadows of the compass direction of north. Be aware and mindful of it, because it's often where we feel safest. So we hurt the ones we love. Put down your sword. Make love, not war. And find the truth in your heart. Respond from love as your potency. And trust that this is the way that we are creating a new world, where the new wealth economy has the lightness of being from love. Bring in the energy of the north. Great buffalo spirit. The earth. White light as your new black, right? Bring in minerals and crystals. The kingdom of the mineral spirit. To give you the knowledge and the wisdom that you seek, that is already inside you, so that you can use your mind in a good way to support and assist your body in taking you toward your living, powerful legacy, to claim your power and manifest what you came here to share with the world. Because the time is the future heavenly body, and the earth is the season of winter. And north is the place of owning, reclaiming your power. Claim your power. Trust what you know, like you know, like you know. And know that awareness is always the precursor to change. So stay grounded to nature and to the nature of everything. Use your childlike innocence to speak your truth, receive the truth of the things that need to change and the things that are not yours to change. Use the serenity prayer, kind of reminds me of that. Use the natural world and the animal kingdoms that are always constantly guiding you. Learn to walk with your allies, the nature spirits, and allow the truth to rise to the surface as we come together, right? We re-people ourselves, we reparent ourselves as we remember what it feels like to be safely embodied, to hear and be the observer of our own internal protest that has been making war, not peace, from within, so that we can find new solutions together. So in closing, hand on heart, may we hold the space for ourselves and each other as a very needed and loved collaborator, co-creators, magic makers, alchemists, empaths, healers, to claim your medicine, to own your medicine, to share it generously with those who walk beside you, because we cannot do this together. We cannot do this apart, and we can get there so much faster together. So I thank you for being here in Sacred Circle with me to receive these messages. I thank the guides, my ancestral helping spirits, the animals, the energies of the unseen realms, the Devet Kingdom, the Elohim, Gaia, Mother Moon, Father Sun, for the compass directions, for the ancient medicine and the wisdom of all things, of our ancestors that have lived well and died well, that have come before us. May we hold space and continue to collaborate and trust that we together have and always will be good enough, that we are never alone. And may we continue to move in a good way and get started and process all the parts and pieces where we perhaps don't feel good enough, to get the support, to be vulnerable enough, to open our hearts. And may we assist and support those who are called to ask us for guidance and wisdom. And may we together create heaven on earth from a place of emotional and physical well-being. May we stay open and be heart-led. Ashona Eshkali, Ashona Eshkali, Ashona Eshkali. I thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here with me. I send you much love, much blessings, and I hope that you found this, however long it was, supportive, heart-opening, and may you return to it at any time when you feel that you need support and energetic guidance to these compass directions and the anchor cards that were gifted to me to share with you for 2020. May this year be amazing. I see you, I honor you, and I thank you for being here with me. Please continue to comment, continue to ask questions, and please share this, as that spirit of generosity with other people that may be looking for what I have to offer. And again, thank you. All right. Much love. Mwah. Bye. Oh, yeah.